What's going on, everyone? So, Scream 7 rumor. McKinney Grace has allegedly been cast as Sidney Prescott's oldest daughter named Tatum. Now, I find this very interesting for a couple of reasons. First, we'll get into McKenna Grace and then dive into the reasons why I find this incredibly interesting. So, for those that don't know who McKenna Grace is, she's 18 years old, born in 2006. As far as movies and shows, she's been in quite a bit of things. She was in Annabelle Comes Home, Ghostbusters Afterlife, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, Gifted, The Banshee, The Handmaid's Tales, Captain Marvel, I, Tonya, The Haunting of Hill House, Fuller House, Once Upon a Time. She's been in quite the catalog. Malignant, Ready Player One. So she is an actress that, has quite the catalog. She's not a complete unknown. Many people have seen her, familiar with her, seen, kind of tweets and stuff like that of people going like, oh, that's great. So, yes, got a good actress that can come in, kind of play the role of Sidney Prescott daughter, Tatum, which makes sense, right? Talked about, there was a rumor a while back that Sidney would name her daughter Tatum. I even said, as with all these things, take it with a grain of salt. Even this is just a rumor till it's confirmed, till we actually get the cast announcement. But I do believe that Sidney's daughter being named Tatum is more likely than not going to be true. Sidney's best friend in 96 growing up, Dewey, it makes a lot of sense that she would name her child, first child in particular, daughter, named Tatum. So that I fully buy. Now, as far as McKenna Grace being 18 years old, probably going to play a high school, maybe senior year, lines up perfectly with Sidney Prescott at the time in which Sidney Prescott was the face of Scream or became the face of Scream, right? Chances are McKenna Grace is going to be the face of Scream going forward if she really is Sidney's oldest daughter. I've talked about this before. At some point, you're going to have to create other characters like a Sam and a Tara that you're going to have to be able to grow and develop. And Sidney's children, and kind of that next wave, I think is probably the safest and most realistic probability right now at this point. Just because, that also opens the door for Sidney herself to be in these films going forward without having to make her the main focus, right? She's going to always show up and try to help her daughter. So I do think that it's kind of a way to keep the door open for Nev if she wants to continue to do these, but also be able to kind of move into the next wave, move into the next generation if you wanted to. Now, it is also possible that they just kind of do the Sidney daughter route for a film or two, or maybe just a new trilogy. There's a lot of talks about this kind of establishing and setting up a trilogy. So maybe it is a trilogy with Sidney and her daughter, and that kind of ties in, and then after that they go a new direction. But nonetheless, chances are McKenna Grace is going to be the Sidney-esque character for the next handful of films. But there was this question of, how old is Sidney's daughters? Are they going to be old enough to be in high school? Because something that I talked about heavily is they can make Sidney's daughters whatever age they want. Literally, whatever age they want. I mean, outside of, of course, within reason, 70 or something like that. But you got to think, Mark Kincaid and Sidney Prescott would have gotten together in 2000. Let's say it took a year for them to really actually, get together. So say 2001. Let's say that they were married for, let's say, 7 years, 6 years before the daughter would still be 16, right? So you have this kind of loophole almost for a character that you can make up to 24 years old, 25 years old. This film's coming out in 2026. So you're talking 25 years is the age that her child could be. So her being 17, 18 makes a ton of sense. The only kid we know that is little that wouldn't make sense is the one that we saw in the stroller, right? Because that at most was probably 3, let's say. Right? So maybe you could have that child be, 10, something like that, 9 at this point. But she says that she has that she needs to get the girls, plural, as in two or more, right? Like that, hey, I have to get the girls for school, ready for school. I get my jog in before I got to get them ready for school. So you have this kind of open door of like, hey, how many kids does Sidney even have? And what are their ages? So you kind of open the door for Grace to be and step in and play that role, or McKenna Grace. You allow McKenna to kind of come in and step in as the role of Sidney's daughter, and she could be 16, 17. She could be the age that Sidney was in Scream 96. And you have this kind of 30th anniversary, this full 360 tie-in to Sidney Prescott, and kind of like the H2O route, right? Like, you have that moment where Lori is kind of staring off, and she's telling, I don't remember the character's name, but the guy's name, and she was like, oh yeah, it was on my 17th birthday, and then she looks over and sees the card showing, from Josh Hartnett's character, right? Like, you could have something like that to where Sidney is the same age, or was the same age as McKenna Grace is now when she was attacked, and so now you have this kind of tie-in. But I like that they are making her older. That it's not it's not a 7-year-old, right? It's not some 12-year-old where like you have a kid that, yes, she's still a kid, but she's old enough to kind of, she'll be in high school, carry kind of like the major scenes. Like you got a lot of potential and directions that you can go with McKenna Grace. Right? Where if she was 12, it's just like kind of limited. She probably isn't going to be in the movie much, right? Because that was a big thing based on rumors going around, which, look, a lot of the earlier rumors were all done before we found out that there's been several script rewrites since then. So a lot has probably changed. But originally there was rumors that Sidney's children wouldn't be in the film very much, if at all. That it would be very little. And same thing with Mark Kincaid. And it was also talked about that her oldest daughter may only be like 12 in that range. And that, to me, I said that I thought that I hope that isn't true, that these rumors are just rumors, because I feel like it's a real missed opportunity. You can't set up and establish Sidney's family and then not have Sidney's family in it. It doesn't make any sense. Why did you even introduce it and the idea in the storyline? Why did you introduce Mark Kincaid and Sidney being married and together if you're not going to actually execute it and go through with it? At some point, you need to have at least Mark Kincaid, right? At some point, you at least need to have him in it. But it would also make sense to have her oldest daughter now kind of go through what she's gone through. Could impact and emotionally just affect Sidney Prescott, because it's just like, this is happening because of me. Like, there's just so many different angles and directions that you can now go with this because Sidney Prescott's daughter is being attacked. And now Sidney feels responsible. Sidney feels obligated. Sidney feels like she needs to do and try to end this. Or, does she contemplate just giving herself to Ghostface because she doesn't want her family in jeopardy or something, right? You have the potential for such a dynamic script, such a dynamic story, such a way to really kind of give us something that we've never gotten in Scream before. Not like, now's your chance to really change Scream while still maintaining what Scream is. Now's your chance to give us a different Scream movie and story, unlike anything we've gotten prior. And Scream is always tied into family. Always. Right? Maureen Prescott, Sidney Prescott, the brother was the one that was full circle. Jill, right? Boom, family member of Sidney Prescott. You look at Scream 5 and 6. It's all family. I mean, even Scream 2, it's Billy's mother, right? Every single Scream film has had a family element and dynamic. Use that. It would be so silly to not capitalize on this. Don't drop the ball on this opportunity. You have a real opportunity here. Don't fumble it. I love the idea that this is an actress that's 18 years old, right? Now, that doesn't mean that she'll be 18 in the film, but because she does look young, right? Like, and so you can see, okay, she could play a 15-year-old. She could play a 17-year-old. A teenager who's old enough to kind of go through the Ghostface text. Now, obviously, there's no technical age limit for when Ghostface can come after you, but, it just, you can do more if she is in the film 17 as opposed to she's 7, right? Like, it's a big difference, right? Like, and again, like, look at what Sidney and her group of friends were being attacked as. Like, they were all teens. They were able to fight off. You were able to do these, like, chase scenes and all that stuff. It's kind of hard to do that with a 7-year-old, right? So, it's nice that they have somebody that is, one, established. It's not, because a lot of people were worried about Lucia because she's not really this character. She's not really this well-established actress, but that's what Scream has always done. However, for Sidney's daughter, they got somebody that has over 70 film credits. So that's good. Or 70 credits, period. But I'm excited. I'm glad that, we got somebody that is established. I'm glad we got somebody that is older. That's not, again, a kid. No, I mean, at 18, you're still a kid, but you get my point, right? Like, kid. So I'm excited to see what they do with this upcoming Scream 7 movie. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Are you excited for this? Are you not? Again, it's just a rumor, so please, take it as such. Don't run away with this. But it is interesting, and hopefully it's true and it's the case. But how do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel. What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.